And next up at UFC 329, McGregor taking on Holloway 2. We've got Zach Reese taking on Ryan Gandra. And if you're enjoying the content, hit that like and subscribe button. Give me Ryan Gandra here in a slight lean. This is a tough matchup. Zachary Reese is very frustrating because I didn't really think that he was a very good fighter coming into the UFC. He tends to leave his chin up in the air. 6'4" at middleweight. He is a real problem. He's a physical specimen in terms of his height, his reach. He's very well rounded. He can mix in grappling. He's got decent wrestling. He's got good cardio. He's got one punch power. He's very frustrating because he carries all the tools to be a very good fighter. The problem with Zachary Reese, I think, is that he fights sort of to the level of his competition at times. And I think he gets suckered into brawls. You go back and look at that last fight against Michel Pereira, losing by split decision to Michel Pereira. There's no shame in that. I don't think Michel Pereira is necessarily a bad fighter. I think as well, former training partners, it can be difficult sometimes to get a read on guys. But Zachary Reese, he carries the power to be able to stay fundamentally sound, set up his shots, and find knockouts. If people look to take him down, he's got fantastic jiu-jitsu off of his back. The long limbs that he carries in his legs and arms make it very difficult for people to stay comfortable in his guard. He's constantly throwing up arm bars. He's looking to fish for the neck. He's looking to throw up triangles. As well, his wrestling's highly improved, and he can fight a full 3 rounds, no problem. And he showed that he's tough. He showed that he's a lot more durable as well, I think, than people think. I just think that he tends to be a little bit too reckless. If he stayed fundamentally sound in fights, I could trust him a little bit more. If he fought behind the jab and really just took his time and set up his shots, I think he could be a lot better and have better performances, and I would look to trust him a little bit more. Ryan Gandra, he's obviously very new. He's coming into the UFC, fought on Dana White's Contender Series, was able to get the first round knockout there. Came into the UFC and fought Jose Medina and basically just put pillar to post, knocked him out straight away in that first round. People argued that it was a bad stoppage. I would have liked to have seen, Medina be able to get a little bit more time there to recover, but didn't hate the stoppage. Ryan Gandra, he obviously carries a lot of power in the hands. He has decent grappling as well, but where he looks to get it done is obviously with those hands. But he does swing wild at times. He comes out, he gives everything he's got in the first round. We have seen him go to a decision in his career. Obviously, you go back and look on the regional tape. He has been to a decision before, but not at the highest level when guys are, working the body a little bit more, or they've got better gas tanks themselves. Not with the adrenaline dump that you sometimes see with fighters on these big stages in big crowds, on big UFC, 329 McGregor headlining cards. So it worries me a little bit here that Ryan Gandra is going to come out. He's not going to be able to put Zachary Reese away, and Zachary Reese is going to be able to come back later on in this fight. My only issue here is that I can't trust Zachary Reese to come in here and fight a technical game plan. Go to the body and wear on Gandra. Get into the clinch, beat him up with knees, get into the the grappling exchanges to really wear on Gandra's arms. For that reason, I'm going to be picking Ryan Gandra, but I am not confident in this fight whatsoever. I think Zachary Reese has all the skills to pull this one off. If he comes out and wrestles early and attacks the body, attacks the lead leg of Gandra, he can really wear on him, get into the clinch, kind of use that kind of height and reach and leverage to really wear on the arms of Gandra, take away that power early. Then once the fight gets to that second and third round where we think that Gandra's power might disappear, he can start poking and prodding with the long-range weapons. He can mix in that grappling again. He can fight behind the jab. He can use the 1-2 and just kind of wear on Gandra as the fight goes on. The problem is, I just can't trust Zachary Reese to do exactly that. So give me Ryan Gandra here. I think he's going to exchange. I think he might be able to find the knockout or at least have the bigger moments on the feet. I think Zachary Reese might be able to take over late in round 3. He wasn't able to do that against Michel Pereira, but I do think that he probably has the better cardio out of the two. I just trust him to go a little bit further in fights than what I've seen from Gandra. Maybe Gandra's cardio is a lot better than I think, but I just can't trust Zachary Reese coming into fights, fighting a smart game plan, even though he has all the tools to do so. So give me Ryan Gandra in a slight lean. Let's see who Carlos has got in this matchup.
Okay, in this one, I'm going to go with Gandra to get it done. And I think Gandra, he starts fast, he throws heavy, but he's a little bit more controlled, more patient, a little bit more relaxed. And after you start to feel the power a little bit, then he starts to overwhelm the opposition that he has, with heavier shots. And then he comes and he throws over and over in succession and try to get him out of there. But as a pro, he's gone the distance twice, I think, in about 9 fights. And, in one of those fights that I saw, he was visibly tired, but it was a war, so it's warranted, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get fatigued if you're putting it all out there, and so is your opponent. But, how's he going to do fighting the tougher opposition later in the round, And pretty much Reese has issues with that already. He's been fatigued a lot, and he's faded, as the fights went on, and he's throwing heavy, and he's throwing high volume early. And I just feel that against Michel Pereira, if anybody saw that fight, it was sloppy, and both guys got hurt, and both guys got tired, and it makes you think, like, what was the whole purpose of trying to reserve the energy? If you see the opening, just go for it. And he came up short anyway. So I'm going to go with Gandra because he showed that he can fatigue a little bit, yeah, but so can everyone. But he's a little bit more poised, and he throws hard, and he's a little bit more relaxed. And I think he's going to find the right time after he hurts Reese to overwhelm him with offense. So I'm going to say, I'm going to go with Gandra to get this one done.